Let's take a quick look here at Austin Romine making a throw to third base against the Angels the other day. So I get a lot of questions about footwork, how to throw, throwing lanes when going to third base. What should you do? Should you go in front of the batter? Should you go behind the batter? So let's take a look at Romine here. So what we see him do. First thing I want you guys to pay attention to and notice is his pre-catch movement. A lot of people out there will teach you incorrectly that your movement should not happen until after you catch the ball. They tell you not to have any pre-catch movement. But as you can clearly see, he's driving that left hip away from his right heel prior to the catch. The key here is to keep the feet still until the ball is caught. So you can move your hips, you can start building momentum in that direction that you're going. Just don't move the feet until after you caught the ball. And that's what we see here from Romine. And he's set up pretty far outside, so he's on the outer half of the plate here. And the batter is in the middle of the batter's box. So he's got to do a lot to create his lane here, his throwing lane, to have a clear path to throw the ball. And recently, we've seen a few guys in the major leagues make throws. Christian Vasquez just recently tried to make a throw to third and hit the batter's bat. So it's definitely important that you create that lane. So we see here, Romine gets a really good push, driving that left hip, really good push off the right foot. So much so that he even crosses his feet just a little bit. Something that I don't recommend a whole lot with young players especially, because when you cross your feet up like this, it's definitely more likely that you'll trip up. Those young guys will trip up. But because he's pushing so much and he's having to go so far to create the throwing lane, you see his feet have to cross here a little bit. So it's okay here. But there's definitely minimal crossing of his feet here. You don't see a big cross. But he's extremely explosive, very powerful to get his body out here to create that throwing lane. And then he stays down in his legs really well and makes a really strong throw there to third base. So when you're working with kids, or if you are a kid, if you're a catcher, this movement right here is going to be extremely important for you when you're making your throws to third. Be sure that you have a little bit of pre-catch movement so that you can go ahead and get your momentum moving towards third base. That's going to cut down on the time that it takes you to throw the ball and get it to third. And then be extremely powerful as you create that throwing lane. Where the batter stands and where you set up will dictate how hard you need to go or how much distance you need to cover in order to create that lane. So always be aware of where you're setting up and where the batter is standing. That way, if the runner does attempt to steal third base, you know exactly where you need to go to create your throwing lane.